Hey guys, Andrew here from 8-Bboc.
And I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries.
And today, a little bit delayed, but no worries. I'm sure you guys didn't have a problem waiting. We've got our set review for XY12, or what's known in Japan as CP6, the 20th anniversary set.
Yep, for us it will be Evolutions, and that will be coming out arguably October 30th is the official release date, since that's when it's coming out to Toys R Us, but everywhere else we'll see it, except for GameStop on the 31st, November 2nd in most retailers. So that is going to be what we're seeing here for Evolutions. We will see at least all of these cards, potentially some more, because the English set always does get some more, but you guys know how things work around here. We do our usual set review. We're a little bit late, like he said, but most of you already kind of know what's in this set just because it's a base set reprint for the most part. But definitely excited to see some of these newer cards and excited to see what they have to offer us.
Yeah, and it's so painful. October 30th for Toys R Us, the most overly priced store.
Yeah, I know.
But it is what it is. I think I'll wait that one extra day to open a few booster packs, perhaps. I don't know if I want to pay that much more for extra ones.
I don't know if I can wait.
Yeah, that's fair, too. So, anyhow, we're just going to jump right into it. It's pretty awesome. One thing that I want to say before we start, unfortunately, is with the theme decks that are coming out, I'm not sure if many of you saw, but the Mewtwo, I'll pull up this image right here, that's just right on the front page. The Mewtwo is going to be in a theme deck, so yeah, if you want that Mewtwo holo, you're going to have to buy a theme deck. And that's unfortunate, but let's just hope that they at least go for a base set holo pattern versus a shattered ice holo pattern, because that would just kill me inside, to be quite honest.
Yeah, as someone who loves the artwork on the card, I have to say the same.
So, but anyhow, we're just going to jump right into it. Mind if I start off with the Venusaur line?
Oh, not at all, considering that this was a deck that you tried to put together a couple years ago.
Yep, it is the Venusaur EX and Mega Venusaur EX. Now, these cards I definitely thought were very good when they first came out. I actually ran 4 and 4, but that's when I didn't know too much about competitive TCG, and it just wasn't good at the time. But now it's a bit better. So we already know these cards. We've had this Venusaur reprinted a dozen times, but just to go over it quickly, grass and 2 colorless is poison powder, 60 damage, and your opponent's Pokemon is poison, active Pokemon. And then for 2 grass and 2 colorless, Jungle Hammer, 90 damage, and you heal 30. So it's not good. But now, with the inclusion of a certain card that we'll be talking about later, this Mega Venusaur is now much better. It is the Crisis Vine from XY base set. I am slightly disappointed that we didn't get new Megas, but I'm also slightly happy because this will be in format now. So, for 3 grass and a colorless, it's Crisis Vine does 120 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed and poison. That is very strong. Yes, it's a lot of grass energy, but the output, and 120 being a little bit lower for Mega Evolutions, but for paralyzing and poison, that's really good. Combination with Forest of Giant Plants, you can evolve this much quicker. There's also Mega Turbo and just a bunch of other great stuff that is going to make this a lot more playable.
Yeah, you can look at a lot like the Primal Groudon decks that were successful for a short time. Even though it was very high energy, they still made it work, and the attack, the payoff is worth it. Paralyze and Poison is very strong and very hard to get out of as well, unless you're playing some kind of switching card. But other than that, I mean, it's a decent amount of damage. You're two-shotting everything, and, it really can hurt an opponent to be paralyzed.
Yeah, paralyzing will prevent you from retreating, as well as you can put like a Dragalge on the field from Flash Fire, if I'm not mistaken, that locks in poison Pokemon from retreating as well. So the only way you're going to get out of it is with switching with a, like a switch or an escape rope or something. But that's still not going to help too much, especially if it doesn't come up too often, because switching cards are very low index nowadays because it wasn't too big of a problem. So now you probably might see a few more escape ropes or at least switches.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, definitely going to be a pretty decent card. I'm not going to say top tier, but definitely look out for this because no one expected Mega Audino to win Worlds. So
yeah, that was definitely a meta call on that one, but you're right.
Yeah. So do you just want to go over these next ones, or what are we doing here?
I'll go ahead and cover through Beedrill anyway, since it's going to be pretty quickly done here. But right. We have a Caterpie and a Metapod, no Butterfree because it actually came out in Jungle, and there is no Jungle Butterfree here. So there's Caterpie, there's Metapod, nothing too special about them. They did upgrade a little bit. I think the HP... No, the HP is the same, isn't it?
No, I think that HP is slightly increased, perhaps, but even if it's not, I know what they do is just like add 10, sometimes 20 more damage to some of these attacks. So pretty much most of these cards have stayed the same with attack names and whatever. They've just been spruced up a bit to meet today's standards.
Right, I completely agree with you on that one. So, they're just Caterpie and Metapod, nothing special about them. So, we got Weedle, Kakuna, and Beedrill here next. Again, Weedle and Kakuna, not much to talk about. They don't really ever make the common Pokemon super strong to begin with, especially when your Stage 2 is your strongest one. But Beedrill is definitely pretty cool. Its attack there... The second attack in particular is the one that we're speaking of here. Swarming Sting. The attack does 40 damage times the number of Beedrill you have in play to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can actually choose which Pokemon you're going to hit. And if you have 4 of them in play, you're dealing 160 damage for 2. And even if it's 3, 120 is still a decent amount. And with Forest Giant Plants, you are definitely going to have an easier time getting out a bunch of Beedrill. But this deck really probably won't make it any further than being a fun deck, just because of how gimmicky it is. It's definitely no Night March, like everyone thought that was going to be a gimmicky thing either. So there's a limited amount to what you can do to this deck. You are dealing with a Stage 1, or a Basic, a Stage 1, and a Stage 2, and their HPs are very low. 40 and 80 is nothing in the TCG these days, and even 120 on a Stage 2 is pretty bad. But it's kind of cool. It can hit pretty hard if you get it all set up. Poison Sting isn't really going to do much either. Grass Energy, 30 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is not poisoned.
Yeah, but Zero Retreat is nice, I guess. But
Retreat, yeah.
Yeah, so this will definitely be a fun, gimmicky deck, but competitive play-wise, if you're getting to Worlds, Nationals, Regionals, anything like that, you're not really going to want to play this.
No, definitely not.
All right, so I'll just go over the next few. Or do you want to just... screw it. Tangela, here we go. He's just Tangela, nothing special. I'll cover the Charizard line real quick. So,
yep.
I'm not sure if there's any boosts here, but we've got the Charmander. Probably just HP and a few things with the attack. So Charmander and then Charmeleon. Very great looking cards, very nostalgic. And then Charizard. Now, interesting thing about Charizard, it can actually be pretty decent, I would say. Now, hear me out. So it has Energy Burn. Like I said, pretty much everything's the same, just slightly bumped up. Energy Burn allows all energy to be that's attached to it to be fire. And then you got Fire Spin for 4, but you got to discard 3, but you do 200 damage. Now, that in essence might not really be worth it, but there's many different things you can do. One thing that you could perhaps do is run a Magnezone, excuse me, and have it be lightning energy that you consistently just attach, and then you can use I'm trying to think of specific energy getting out of the discard type cards. Super Rod, am I correct with that? And Fisherman, or yeah, so those cards can definitely help get them back, as well as Clement for getting the that lightning energy as well. And then there's obviously the special fire energy that allows you to just straight up reattach it. And then you actually had an interesting point with Carbink, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Carbink Break accelerates any kind of energy out of the discard pile. So you could actually take 2 double colorless energies out of the discard pile and attach them with Diamond Gift to Charizard. And you can switch into Charizard, hit for that 200, discard them, go back into Carbink, hit again for Diamond Gift, put those double colorless energies right back on Charizard once again, and you're meeting your energy requirements, and you're dealing the 200 damage every other turn that way.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's not the most viable strategy, but it could still definitely work in a more fun sense.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe we'll get some more cards released along the lines that can make this better. But, it's not complete trash. It's just not going to see competitive play. So
Probably not.
All right. You getting these, or do you want me to get them?
Sure, I'll go ahead and grab it here. So Charizard EX here. This is a reprint of the Flashfire, which I think actually that's the same card number 12. I'm pretty sure that's the same exact card number from Flashfire. I think it's number 12.
I feel like Generations also Charizard was number 12.
It could be. But the Combustion Blast one here, this actually got a reprint in the Charizard EX box as well, so we've seen quite a few of this one. This is the more playable of the Charizard EXs that have been printed to date. Combustion Blast does 150 damage for 2 fire and 2 colorless, and it can't use Combustion Blast during your next turn, but it does 150 damage. The Wing Attack's not too bad. It's a little expensive for 60 damage, but when you're trying to power up Combustion Blast and you don't have any other option, you're an energy short, 60 is okay, and it's also a nice secondary attack to knock out whatever you didn't with Combustion Blast. And then they chose to reprint the Charizard Y, Mega Charizard Y here. Crimson Dive for 2 fire and 3 colorless energy does 300 damage, and it does 50 to itself. So again, like we were talking about with Mega Venusaur, you've got access to Mega Turbo. You can, attach a double colorless energy. You have ways to accelerate energy, like again, Carbink. It's a weird combination with fire and fighting. I don't really think it's going to work together all that well. But you can do it, I suppose. Personally, I feel like Mega Charizard X is a better Mega overall as far as being able to power it up quickly versus Y, but it's still kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the major drawback to it is that it does 50 damage to itself. I would have rather discard energy, or even the Mega Charizard X effect where you have to discard cards on top of your deck. But it is what it is. You can't always get what you want, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like they realized that Mega Charizard X was too powerful of a card to reprint over Y, just because you do have access to double Dragon Energy. You've got your special charge to get stuff back if it does happen to get knocked out. You do have energy acceleration like Mega Turbo. I think 300 on a Dragon type is just a bit too powerful. Even which card is it that does the same? The Dragon Mega Rayquaza is another one that hits way too hard in my opinion, and I feel like we might see a little bit more of that competitively, just due to the ways that you're able to get that energy on there faster and hit so hard.
Yeah. Alright, so I guess I'll go over the next one. We got Vulpix and then Ninetales, and there's no error on this Ninetales, so...
yeah,
but,
I talked about that in my opening too.
Oh, really? Nice. So yeah, definitely good looking card. Nothing special about it. But we've got the Ninetales break, 140 HP, and then it does the attack Explosive Fireball for a fire and a colorless, 10 plus damage, and you discard all fire energies attached to this Pokemon. But it does 60 more damage for each energy discarded this way. So it's really interesting that you only have to do 2, but if you want to do a lot of damage, you'll have to discard more and attach more. So, yes. But that definitely has... I feel like it has a bit of potential.
Oh, it absolutely does, because this card is very reminiscent of Rayquaza EX from Dragons Exalted with the attack. I forget what it's called now. I just looked at it, too. It's in the Keldeo versus Rayquaza deck, where you can discard either all of your fire or all of your lightning, and does 60 damage times the number of those discarded that way. So it's like a mini Rayquaza EX from back in Dragons Exalted.
Yeah, so it's definitely... It definitely has potential, because, I mean, if you do just the bare minimum, and plus you can attach the special fire energy that just attaches it right back to him, just the bare minimum, you're doing 130 damage with no extra, attachments to it. So just attach a few more, and you're doing 2 more, and you're doing 190. So definitely worth checking out in the future. Yeah, let's just wrap up these fire types, because they're not really that great.
Yep, let's move on here to Growlithe. Growlithe has 2 attacks, Kick and Run and Flare. Nothing too special there. We do have Arcanine as well with the ability Burning Road. Once during your turn before you attack, when this Pokemon becomes your active Pokemon from the bench, you may move as many fire energy as you like from your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So it's kind of like the Bust-In Dragonite in a way, being able to move all that energy. And Scorching Breath, 3 fire energy and a colorless, does 150 damage, and then Arcanine cannot attack on your next turn. The only thing that's worth talking about this is going into the Arcanine Break, which should be in this set. We're going to switch over to that here real quick. And Arcanine Break has an attack, Turbo Flame, for a fire and a colorless, does 80 damage. Choose 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile and attach them to one of your Pokemon. So this is a lot like what I was talking about with Carbink Break, except for you can only accelerate basic energy cards, but you are doing much more damage.
Right, and so overall, I'm not sure if it's going to see much play, but that's its synergy with the Arcanine.
Yeah, it's synergy with a lot of these fire Pokemon that need more energy, for sure.
Yep, so do you just want to wrap up the last two?
May as well. Ponyta here, again, it looks just like Ponyta from base set in the first place, a little bit extra damage output, but nothing worth mentioning, and Magmar as well, same situation.
Yep. All right. So we've got Blastoise EX, and this is actually not that bad of a card. We already know it, but Rapid Spin, I've always liked it for a double colorless. 30 damage, switches Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, then your opponent switches his or her active with one of his or her bench. And then you've got Splash Bomb for 3 water, 120 damage, flip a coin. If tails, this Pokemon does 30 to itself. So you're never really going to be using it for that. If you are using Blastoise EX by itself, you'll be using it for Rapid Spin. But then the Mega Blastoise, obviously, with Hydro Bombard, 3 water, but you do 120 damage and then 30 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that's actually pretty decent spread damage. It's just kind of costly. I still, even with the newest card that will be helping it out, I mean, we don't really need to hint at it. It's a Spirit Link. Mm-hmm. I think even with a Spirit Link, that's not going to help it too much. But that's just me personally. What do you think?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think the Spirit Links are a little bit too late. I mean, we're talking about 12 sets later, you know?
Yeah.
But it is a decent attack. 120 for 3 is not awful, but it would have benefited more when the regular Blastoise was still a thing. When Blastoise decks were really good and you had Keldeo EX as an attacker, you could potentially tech in that Mega Blastoise to do 130 and spread some damage to the bench as well. But now, I don't know how much play it has in the current format, but maybe it will in the future since it's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what gets released in the future, but as of right now, he's going to be on the back burner.
Yeah, just a little bit. Alright, so next up here we have Poliwag and Poliwhirl, which didn't really get much changing aspects to it. Maybe a little bit of a buff in HP, a little bit of attack as well. And then Poliwrath, which I really do like Poliwrath a lot. I don't know why, I've always liked this card. Jumping Punch does 50 damage for a single water energy, and if it was on your bench and became active, it does 50 more damage, so 100 for 1 if it came into the active on this turn, which I think is pretty cool, but it is a stage 2 again, so it's a little bit hard to get it out, and it's hard to build a deck around one attack on a stage 2 card. Whirlpool does 80 damage for 3 water energy, and you're discarding energy attached to the defending Pokemon.
Yep, so he's Poliwhirl, but had to at least mention that attack. So we got Seal, and then Dugong. They're just Seal and Dugong. And then I'll let you cover this line.
Okay. We got Staryu and Starmie. Starmie has an ability, Galactic Spin. Once during turn before you attack, you may discard 1 card from your hand, choose 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile, show them to your opponent, and put them into your hand. So that's kind of neat. A good way to get energy back. And then Star Freeze does 30 damage. Flip a coin if heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Not really a fantastic attack. It was pretty decent back in the era that it was originally printed, but not so much now. And we do have Starmie Break, a brand new card here. Turbo Star does 100 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon Break. Now, it'd be fantastic if Break Pokemon were a little bit more playable than they are now. When Greninja Break was really popular, Trevenant Break was really popular, then I would say this would have been a nice counter to them to be able to hit really hard for that single water energy. Not a perfect counter either by any means, because both of those cards were very powerful to begin with, but it is kind of neat to finally see something to counter or at least punish your opponent for playing break Pokemon. It's the first time we've really seen that.
Yeah, so in a different time, in a different format where breaks are more relevant, this would have been fantastic. But right now, unless any other break cards become very playable, this is just not going to be that great.
Yep, more of a novelty at this point.
Yeah, but the thing to mention, though, is not only could it be useful, because, like, yeah, break's going to survive 100 damage, obviously, unless you have some damage already on it, but with cards that allow you to move damage counters around on your opponent's side of the field, I mean, just imagine if they had, like, 2 or even 3 breaks out. Like, I know that sounds a little bit iffy, but just imagine that scenario where you're just getting 300 damage out on the field, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, it was a potential at one point, with Trevenant and Greninja both being very highly popular recently.
Yeah, so maybe in a different time. I don't think they're going to continue breaks in Sun and Moon base set, nope. But we'll just have to see. Sadly, I don't think they're going to be continuing EXs either. It's going to be full-out GXs, and that's something that worries me in terms of the collector's side of things when it comes to ultra rares such as full arts. But that's a discussion for another time.
Indeed.
So we'll just finish this up. They got a Magikarp, very memorable card, as well as this beautiful Gyarados. I don't think there's anything to really talk about on this other than it's utter crap.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the same as it was in base set.
One thing that's fun to mention is that they swapped the attacks. Bubble Beam was the one that costs more, and Dragon Rage was the one that costs less. So they just switched that around, and but they made Dragon Rage much worse. Even not only did they make it more costly, but they flip 2 coins. If either of them is tails, it does nothing. It's horrible.
That's terrible.
But hey, it's a novelty card. Very good look. So then we got Pikachu. Gotta love that fat yellow cheek Pikachu. And
no red
that's
cheeks here.
Yeah, and then that's also going to be a theme deck. So that might be worth it just to get a holo Pikachu if it's done in the style of base set holo patterns. So we'll just have to see what that actually looks like. And then we've got Raichu, which is definitely interesting. It's got 100 HP. Discharge really isn't anything special. You just 1 lightning, you get to attach a lightning from your discard to it. But Spark Bolt is definitely interesting. For a lightning and 2 lightning and a colorless, 70 plus damage, you may discard an energy attached to this Pokemon, and if you do, you get to do 70 more. So I think discarding 1 energy, just 1 single one, to do another 70 is pretty solid. I'm not sure if it's solid enough to warrant actually having a deck built around it, but we do have Raichu Break, which definitely has a decent attack, so I think that could be a nice partner for it, but not sure if that will ever be a good deck, but just wanted to throw that out there.
And it is nice to see Raichu get that extra 10 HP buff after being 90 HP pretty much every set so far for a while.
Yeah, so definitely good to see that. And then go on.
Okay, I'll cover the next few here. We got Magnemite and Magneton. Nothing really too different here worth mentioning. We also have Voltorb. And here's a card that I really am excited about. This one is probably one of the most playable cards coming out of the set right now, just because of its ability, Buzz Zap. Once during your turn before you attack, you can knock out this Pokemon and attach it as a special energy card to one of your Lightning Pokemon. This card provides 2 lightning energy while it's attached to a lightning Pokemon. That is really, really cool, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's so good for a typing that really hasn't seen a lot of support in a way. There's a lot of different cards I can think of you could attach this to and make it really, really good. 2 energy, and it's a Pokemon that you knock out, and it's only a stage 1, so it's not even like it's that difficult to really make happen. Electrode is a card that's been kind of known for having some interesting abilities due to the type of Pokemon that it is. I remember there was one that you could draw up to 4 in your hand, I believe. Like, I think it was draw up to 4. Was that the Plasma one?
Can't recall.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Plasma one is dropped to 4 into your hand, which is a lot like Octillery.
Or was it XY base? I feel like
it wasn't. It was in the black and white era. It was definitely
Okay.
a Plasma era, but I just couldn't remember if it was dropped to 4. I think it's dropped to 4.
Yeah. The one thing the one drawback to this is you have to knock it out, which, I mean, since it uses that terminology, knockout, rather than, I don't know, that your opponent would then take 1 prize card for that, correct?
I'm not sure, because I believe Unknown says the same exact thing, and your opponent doesn't take a prize card for you knocking out your Unknown.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think your opponent's going to take a prize card as it. If it is that, then no, this is total garbage, but yeah.
Yep.
What you're thinking of from X and Y base is the Voltorb, that if it's knocked out, your opponent flips a coin, or you flip a coin, or your opponent flips a coin, whatever it was, you can do 60 damage to the Pokemon that knocked it out.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, well, I guess we can just move on. Do you want to wrap up these last 2?
Yeah, sure, there's nothing really too special about them. Electabuzz and Zapdos. Zapdos could be good if the energy requirement wasn't so high, but then again, base set Zapdos in the first place was never that great just due to the fact that it did require so much energy to actually do anything in the first place.
Yeah, so you're not going to be seeing Zapdos in play, but again, it's just nice to see it getting printed. So next up, we've got Nidoran. Obviously, one thing to note is that this line was grass type originally, but since the TCG has changed, now the poison typing is represented by Psychic. So that's the one thing different about this line. So then we'll move on to Nidorino, and then Nidoking. Pretty good looking. Is there anything to talk about on him? I guess Tail Swing for 2 Psychic and a colorless, 100 damage. Does 20 to each of your opponent's benched basic Pokemon, so that's kind of interesting, I guess.
It's a little neat.
But then we're going to talk about Nidoking Break. Still not the most amazing card in the world, but Toxic Pierce for 2 Psychic and a colorless, 120 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Put 2 damage counters instead of 1 on it between turns. So even using Dimension Valley, which is that getting rotated out?
It's rotated out for standard, but it's still good and expanded.
Yeah, so even then, it's not going to happen.
No.
So, it's just nice to see some of these cool guys getting breaks.
Yep, I agree. I guess I can cover the next few as well, considering that a lot of these are incomplete evolution lines anyway. Ghastly and Haunter, which I always liked Haunter just for the fact that Hypnosis and Dream Eater were on a card. I like that combination in the video game, but it doesn't work so well in the TCG, especially since you can flip for sleep in between turns and potentially wake up, ruining your entire plan. We got Drowsy here as well. No extra really noteworthy things about it. And Coughing, same situation. So we didn't get Gengar or Hypno or Wheezing here.
And we also didn't get the Alakazam line.
And we also didn't get the Alakazam line either. Yeah, that's true.
Real quick, just to fact check, I suppose, that unknown thing. It says you're allowed to discard it. It does not count as a knockout.
Oh, well then...
So that Electrode is a little less good then.
Well, that depends on the translation once it gets put into English, because you know that sometimes they reword it. So we'll just have to see what it looks like.
Yeah, so take that with a grain of salt, everyone.
For now. And I guess I'll go ahead and just cover this Mewtwo card and let you do the EX. Mewtwo here, Psychic, 20 damage for a double colorless, plus 20 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It got a boost of 10. Before it was 10 plus, so now it's 20 plus. Still not worth really...
Yeah, but wasn't it 10 plus 10, but now 20 plus 20? I think that's... I mean, I'm not going to say it's great and amazing, but I think that's definitely a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah, but if you think about it, you know, you're dealing 20 plus. If they have 3 energy attached, it's still only 80 damage, and in this kind of format, it's not really worth it.
Right. So, anyhow, we're just gonna hop into this Mewtwo EX. The artwork's fantastic. It's the best looking Mewtwo EX card they have, in my opinion, but it's garbage. It's straight up dookie. So we got energy absorption for colorless. Attach an energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Recover for a Psychic, heal 60 damage, and then Psyburn for Psychic and 3 colorless and only 110? Are you actually kidding me?
It's really bad.
It's a horrible card, but hey, it's good looking. You at least got that going for you.
Yep.
All right. So, do you want to get this one, or do you just want to wrap it up? Okay. So Mew has the ability now. This was a Korokoro promo, if I'm not mistaken. So we never got it in English.
No, we did. It came as a Black Star promo.
Was it a Black Star promo?
It was a Black Star promo. It came with the... I think it was one of the Pokemon trading card game promos, because you got the Meowth, and I think the Mew was the other one.
Okay. So, anyhow, this wasn't in base set. It was a promo, and I think it was a non-holo promo, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
We got Neutral Shield, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's evolved Pokemon. So that's interesting, but it would only be useful if this Mew had a good attack, which it doesn't. Psyshock for Psychic and a colorless, 30 damage, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed.
Actually, I take that back. It wasn't a promo that was in the Pokemon trading card game that you got with the game, because that was Eevee and Meowth. This card was in the Pokemon trading card game, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but we did actually get this eventually as a non-holo Black Star promo.
Okay, gotcha. Do you want me to go over these next ones, or do you want to get them?
Let's see, you go ahead.
Okay, so we got Sandshrew. He's Sandshrew. Unfortunately, no Sandslash. We got Diglett. We'll always read the abilities, even if they're not amazing. So as long as this submerges, as long as it's on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. That would be decent if you wanted to protect it to evolve it into the Doug Trio. But Doug Trio is not good. So
no,
it's just.
I have to say, I think it's funny that Diglett looks furry in this picture.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. I think it's just because when these first came out in 1999 for us, so 98 or 97 for Japan. I think it may have been 98. But this was just right around the time when 3D artwork was getting started. So when you take a look at it, it's just an ugly card, but and obviously textures are garbage, but definitely fun to see.
It reminds me of Super Mario 64 type of.
Oh yeah, definitely, because that was right around the time frame. So
it was.
So do you want to get this next line?
You already got Doug Trio. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Sure. All right. So we got Machop here, which was actually really good in the TCG when base set was a thing, but it's been altered by a bit here. Double Chop now does 20 damage times the number of heads, so it's definitely gotten kind of nerfed there in that aspect. I don't know why I said asset. That was really weird. And anyways, here we've got a Machoke that, of course, evolves from Machop, 60 damage and minus 10 for each damage count on the Pokemon. Submission does 80. Nothing really too great there. But Machamp does have the ability Strikes Back. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon is damaged by an opponent's attack, place 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, basically giving it a built-in Rocky helmet. The attack, Seismic Toss 120. And then we have Machamp Break, which is a brand new card. Lasso Boomerang for 3 fighting energy does 100 damage during your next turn. This Pokemon's attacks do 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you used, say, Seismic Toss, or you use Lasso Boomerang for 100, and then the next turn you use Seismic Toss, then you're dealing, 220 damage?
Yeah,
it's a bit of overkill. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just also, they don't really specify. I would imagine it doesn't stack, but the way it's worded currently makes it seem as if it could stack.
Yeah, I don't think it will, but it does have a little bit of an incomplete wording there to give us the clarity on it.
Yeah, one thing that I also like, too, is that the pose is very similar to Machamp and Pokken.
Yeah.
So I definitely like how that looks. So you want to finish off the fighting?
I'll finish off the fighting ones. We got Onyx here. Didn't get any kind of help whatsoever. And
it actually... I was just going to say it actually got worse because they put attacks on it that it never had. Both of the attacks it never had, and it's just garbage.
Yeah, it's
not
bad.
that it was good before, but
right. And we have Hitmonchan here, the star of Haymaker back in the day. Still pretty decent, 90 HP, and it's got 2 attacks for a single fighting energy jab, which is the same exact attack from back in the day, and special punch, 2 fighting energy, and a colorless, does 90 damage. So you can help yourself out here by attaching a fighting fury belt to it, giving 130 HP, making jab do 40 damage, and special punch doing 100. And then of course you also have access to strong energy, so a single strong energy can turn that 30 into 50, with fighting fury belt into 60. You have a lot of ways to boost the damage here. Unfortunately, Fighting Stadium is gone, but it's still a strong Pokemon, and I think it's still pretty decent otherwise.
Yeah, rest in peace, Fighting Stadium. Fury's Fist was a very, very good set in terms of support for fighting Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm mostly upset about Focus Sash, too.
I'm really upset that we never got that Muscle Band reprint.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So we'll just go over this real quick. Clefairy, nothing special about it other than that it was a normal type, but now that the Clefairy line is pure fairy, we get a look at what a fairy type card would have looked like in the base set era. So definitely very, very cool, but nothing good about it, to be quite honest. You want to get this, or do you want me to?
No, go ahead. You only got 1 card, so go for it.
Well, no, we got Pidgeot and Mega Pidgeot.
I know, I'm saying you only did 1 card.
Oh, gotcha. Anyhow, so we've got Mimic for, well, I guess I should say the HP. It's 170. Mimic for 1 energy is, if this Pokemon was damaged by an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does the same amount of damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So then we've also got Feather Throw, 3 colorless, 80 damage, and it does 20 damage to of your opponent.
I think it's supposed to be 1 of.
Yeah, let me take a look at the card just to see if I can spot a 1 on there. I imagine it's to 1 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And you don't apply weakness. Not a very...
there's the 1, I see it.
Okay, gotcha. So we've got Mega Pidgeot EX, 220 HP, and... what is that? Mock Cyclone for 3 colorless, 130 damage. You may have your opponent switch his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched. I'm not really sure how good that's going to actually be.
It's not. Since your opponent can pick, it really doesn't help it.
Yeah, so, well, we'll have to see on the wording, because that could be interpreted either way, I think.
You may have your opponent switch. It's usually you may switch your opponent's active Pokemon. So I'm going to say that this is up to the opponent.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what the actual ruling is on it, but either way, it's still not going to be that great.
Yep. Alright, so moving on here, we've got Rattata with the ability Facetious Fang. Once, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may discard all Pokemon tool cards attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So, the one thing about this card is that it does give you a way to get rid of your opponent's tools now, because that does not exist in any other way right now in the standard format. Now that Startling Megaphone is gone, and so is Zerosic. So if you really wanted to get rid of tools, if you're really that concerned about things like Garbodor, for instance, you could play a Rattata if you really wanted to. So
yeah. But then this Raticate here.
Yes, this Raticate. It looks pretty darn cool. It has 2 attacks, Crunch for 10 damage, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon, but that's not really the one we're going to be focusing on here. I think the main focus of this card, if you were to choose to play it, would be Right from the Shadows for a colorless energy, does 60 damage times the number of special energy in your opponent's discard pile, which really reminds me of a card that I used to love, which was from the Plasma era. That is Drifblim. That was 50 damage times the number of special energy. This is now 60, and it's for 1 energy.
Yeah, so
I like it.
And then you can also run it in tandem with Raticate Break.
Yep. Yes, you can.
So, yep. Definitely want to see what happens with this guy to see if it ends up being useful.
Yep. You can go ahead and cover the next 4.
All right, so we got Farfetch'd. He's Farfetch'd. I like him. And we got Doduo. And we got this Chansey Hollow. This card, I believe, is one of the only cards that barely changed at all in terms of HP and attack damage and whatever.
Yeah, to me, Chansey should have gotten an HP buff. I don't care if it's already 120. Like, Chansey's known for having high HP. Give it something higher than what we've seen in a long time. Give it 150 for a basic or something.
Yeah, that definitely would have been nice and a little spruce to it, but this one changed the least out of every other one, I believe, so...
Yeah, I don't think it changed at all.
Yeah, so we got Porygon. He's interesting with Conversion 3. I believe they called it, was it Conversion 2 in the original?
Yes.
So basically, it's essentially the same thing. You choose one of any of the types, and the defending Pokemon's weakness is that type until the end of your next turn.
Yep, so it stays that way. Once you do that attack, it stays that way through your opponent's turn and through the end of your turn. So once you attack on the next turn, you can hit for weakness.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how often that's really going to be useful, because in this format, we don't even really care about weaknesses. But who knows? So maybe it might become relevant. So
maybe. All right, so this is probably the most competitive one of the most competitive cards coming out of this set right now, and it's strictly for its ability, Elevation. Of course, this is Dragonite EX. HP is 180. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your discard pile for up to 2 basic Pokemon, excluding Dragonite EX, and put them into your hand. This card is going to be good in Mega Gardevoir, because Mega Gardevoir, the Steam Siege one, discards Pokemon for the attack. So once you bench it, you can get 2 of them back and basically, start dealing more damage again, as you can discard those Pokemon again. And also, Mega Rayquaza, the colorless one. When you get your Skyfield bumped, you have to discard all those Pokemon. Dragonite EX will help you get those Pokemon back out of the discard pile without, using Super Rod or, whatever. You just get them right back into your hand. So that's kind of important. A good way to get your Shaymins back, too, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's definitely only good for the ability, though. Hyper Beam being 130, and discarding any kind of energy card from your opponent's active Pokemon is fine, but 130 for 4 colorless, you're using it for the ability, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So we got trainers here.
Yeah, which this is very nostalgic to just see the design of these cards, just because the trainer cards are very, very different from what we have currently.
Very much so. So we'll split the difference here. I'll start off with Super Potion. Heal 60 damage for one of your Pokemon if you do discard an energy attached to that Pokemon. Energy Retrieval. This is the one when I was doing my box opening. I could not remember what the second word was. I knew it was energy something. I just couldn't remember.
You know what? That's the same exact thing happened to me. I believe I thought it was... what's the other card that is energy something?
Energy Removal.
Yeah, I believe... and I think I actually ended up calling it Removal because I didn't think it was Retrieval.
Yep, Energy Retrieval. Put 2 basic energy cards in your discard pile into your hand. Potion. This is a card we've seen many, many times reprinted. Heal 30 from one of your Pokemon. And we've got Revive as well, which is another card we've seen. Put a basic Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench.
One thing that I want to mention about that is just how great is it to see Revive just not as like a little diamond. It's a pink star.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a really interesting design change from over the years.
Yep. And we also have De-Evolution Spray, which is reprinted. Once again, devolve one of your evolved Pokemon, put the highest stage evolution card into your hand, and that cannot be re-evolved this turn. Yep.
And then I guess I'll continue from there. This one I drew a blank on at first, but then I remembered what it was because, that doesn't look anything like a Full Heal.
No, it doesn't.
So everyone's favorite card, Full Heal. Remove all special conditions from your active Pokemon. We got Switch, very, very nostalgic card. I love this. I've always thought that this should have got a secret rare printing, like gold bordered in the exact style when we actually got the secret rare Switch in Primal Clash.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, at least we get it in standard printing now. We've got Pokedex. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put them back on your the top of your deck in any order. And then Maintenance. Garbage card, shuffle 2 cards from your hand into your deck, and then draw a card. And now we're getting into some of the better stuff.
Yep, now we're going to get into some Spirit Links here. We've got the Blastoise Spirit Link, the Pidgeot Spirit Link, the Venusaur Spirit Link, and the Charizard Spirit Link, which I'm so glad they incorporated both Mega X and Mega Y onto the Charizard Spirit Link. It looks very cool like that, I have to say.
Yeah, because we do still, technically speaking, have a Mega Charizard X in format, the Generations one.
Yep, that we do. And also we've got Professor Oak's Hint, which essentially is a tropical beach reprinted in the supporter form. If you use this card, your turn ends, so you can draw until you have 7 in your hand. So essentially it's like a Shaman +1 and your turn ends, and you're also using your supporter for the turn anyway, so you can't do anything else.
And you can't attack.
Yeah, and you can't even attack, so it's just really bad.
Yeah, very, very bad.
Yep.
So we got Misty's Determination. We've seen this card before, just printed with classic Ken Sugimori style artwork. You discard a card from your hand. If you do, look at the top 8 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, and then shuffle the other cards back in. Pretty decent supporter, I think. I don't see it getting much play, but I think it is a decent one, no less, because it's any card.
I actually saw it in a deck list not too long ago in a championship. I don't know what it was. It was like a circuit series of some kind that some store in Oklahoma had done, but it was a very, very large event, and one of the top 8 decks had a Misty's Determination in it. So that was kind of cool.
Huh, that is pretty interesting. And then last supporter is Brock's Guts. Shuffle 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. So I think that's pretty decent, I guess. I just still don't imagine it being played.
There's some decks where I could see this being a relevant card in getting back energy and Pokemon, especially like I was saying before with Mega Rayquaza or Mega Gardevoir from Steam Siege. I think I can use this card. Or decks that burn a lot of energy. It's a dual Super Rod, so I think they might run a 1-of.
Yeah, so definitely situational, and even when it's situational, not many played, but definitely interesting and great to see Brock as a card. Yep. And then final card of the main set, we got double colorless, and that's a great look.
Yeah, not to mention it provides 2 chicken nuggets.
Yep, 2 chicken nuggets.
Dang it, Water Pokemon Master.
I'm actually really hungry, so I'm going to eat after this. So now we are getting into the good stuff, and then we have a few things at the end that are like, that's going to be in the set, but they're not in Japan's set. So
yeah.
Anyhow.
And Japan is getting the cards that we've been getting all this time, like this Venusaur, for instance.
Yep, and it just makes me wonder, are they simply going to just reprint this with a yellow border and put it into our set, or are we going to get different full arts? Like, I'm not saying different than what we've already got, like perhaps are we going to get XY base set Venusaur full art, or what are they going to do? Or are they just not going to put it in at all? That's what I'm really curious about. Because I feel them just putting a yellow border on it and giving it to us is just lazy.
It is. It's very lazy, and people would rather use the ones from the 20th anniversary boxes anyway, if that does happen, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is, but I just don't like that. I mean, obviously, it would have been cool if we never got these, and then we got them as... and you know, they're non-textured too, so essentially if we did get them, it would just be the same things we've got as promos, just with yellow border. So
yeah, and it would be kind of a haha, we got you to buy these boxes, now take the same cards that you would have gotten if you just bought this set anyway. Like, I just think that'd be a bad move for them, so yeah, I'm hoping we don't see them.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but it would be just by how the set numbering is, we have to at least have some sort of Venusaur EX card in there. Whether it's that or the old full arts, we'll just have to determine. But we have the Mega Venusaur EX full art, which
finally,
I love it. I love the design of it. The his vine coming in at the very bottom. Obviously these are very dark cards, but when we get them, they're gonna look much better in person.
Absolutely.
Yep. So got the Charizard EX again from those boxes, and then we've got
an amazing, incredible looking full art.
It may be one of the worst Charizard cards ever, but whew,
that art though, it's so
powerful. Yeah, I know someone that got this recently.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. Oh,
really great cards.
Yeah. So it's definitely, when it comes out in English, you better hope if you're collecting that you pull this, because this will very well be an $80+ card.
Yeah, and it will just go up as time goes on.
Yep, that's why I'm holding on to the Japanese one, because the thing is, since it's not an actual XY set, it's a concept pack set, those don't get printed very often. If you try to get a first edition Pokémon collection box, you're going to be spending a lot of money. So just imagine a full art textured Mega Charizard EX from a set that's not going to be printed that often. That card's going to go up a lot in the future, so I'm keeping a hold of it for now.
Yeah, and, I may not have pulled the Mega Charizard, but I'm definitely happy with having 2 base set Charizards from the CP set, because that's another thing that retains some value.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, so next up here we've got that Blastoise EX, which, again, comes straight out of the box. Nothing special there. But the full art is huge. Oh my gosh, I just clicked it. It took up my screen.
Yeah, this scan is definitely a lot different from the other ones.
Yes, it is. I like it. I don't really know if there's a lot you could have done with Blastoise anyway, but I think it's cool that they did finally get... Oh, whoops, I just made it even bigger.
Oh,
oops.
wow.
I just clicked on the...
I think a cool pose would have been like if you're looking from a bird's eye view and he has the cannon pointed at you, that would have been
yes.
Cool. But,
that's very true.
Yeah, so unfortunately I don't work for the Pokemon Company, so maybe in the future I can give you guys some better ideas for card design. Not that this isn't good. I mean, who am I to speak, But I think that would have been a cooler design choice. But moving on, they included the Pikachu EX, which I definitely don't know, if we do get them, then obviously it would make sense to just throw this in as well. Mm-hmm. But if we don't, what are they going to replace it with? Is my question.
That's where we could be either surprised or disappointed.
Yeah, so we'll have to see about that. Then we've got this very powerful Mewtwo EX full art. Again, terrible card, but it's a very powerful looking one. So moving on, we've got the Pidgeot EX. This looks like something straight out of the anime. So I'm in love with how this card looks. And then we've got the Mega Pidgeot EX. And I think that looks good. I would have maybe picked a different background color, but the pose is fantastic.
Yes, I completely agree.
And then Dragonite EX. Very, very good pose. It's not my first choice for background color, but it works.
Yeah.
Very, very much works. And then the most beautiful supporters in the entire world. I'm just going to put both of them up on the screen at the same time.
That's what I did.
We've got the Brock's Guts and Misty's Determination. They are single-handedly the best-looking full art set we've ever got. Even with how basic Brock's is, because of the design choice of just having the trainers thing just at the very top and, just having the text not in boxes or anything, it allows you to show off so much more design and the character itself. And, I'm actually very surprised that they didn't try to sexualize Misty for this, like how they did with Skyla, Winona, Bridget, which, so they took the classy route this time around.
Yep, I can respect that.
And, looks absolutely fantastic. Like I said, even Brock's with just the background being like a very boring brown color, it still looks great.
It does. It does.
Some of the best cards.
So I was going to say...
these next two cards.
Yes.
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. These cards are so strange to me because in the Japanese set, you can see right here, it's 101 out of 87. It's an obvious secret rare, but the rarity is U. That threw me off. Yeah, it threw me off so bad. I pulled this Imakuni's Doduo, and I just cast it aside like it was a regular card, and didn't realize till the video was over, holy cow, that is a secret rare uncommon card? What?
Yeah, it has what would normally be secret rarity, but technically speaking, it from what I've heard, it does appear just as common as any other uncommon card. Because from my one box, I'm missing 4 or 6 uncommons. So, but it's very weird. Why make it uncommon rarity, but then put it on the outside of the set? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So anyways, let's just start talking about him here just a little bit. This is Exeggutor. I forget what is that called? Like a dual language Exeggutor? I forget how they actually... There's an actual name for this, because they actually have the English and the Japanese name on the card.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
I can't remember. It was like bilingual executor or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but there is English on it as well as Japanese. Even the attack is translated into English as well.
And we never got this card in English, so I wonder if we're gonna have like Japanese on the card. That
makes you wonder. It would be really cool.
Yeah. So.
And then Imakunu's Doduo, I have to say one thing about it. I love the ability Frenzied Escape. When this Pokemon retreats, throw this card away.
Yeah. Now, at the very bottom in red text, it says this card cannot be played in tournaments. Yes. So it's just a novelty card, but it really makes me wonder if we're even going to be getting these cards.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we did get Imakuni in Generations, so it's a possibility that they may give it to us now that Imakuni has been formally introduced to the English-speaking community.
Yeah, but then again, it did take 2 or 3 years for us to actually get that, so...
It did, so it may appear later. It's really hard to say exactly. And then the final card here, the only card to come out of Team Rocket here is Here Comes Team Rocket. It's essentially a town map in supporter form.
Yep. And, but it's for... both players, so
that's true.
I don't really know who that's benefiting, because like even town maps you don't play those often, so
no, not so much. But I think they just threw Team Rocket in there because hey, it's Jesse, it's James, it's Meowth, you know.
Yeah. So just wrapping things up, we've got Slowbro EX and
wait. I got to do these because I mean, come on, Slowbro.
Oh.
And come on, this is a card I cannot wait to see him pull in our booster box openings. I'm gonna love it. Slowbro EX. That's the one thing that's stuck with him so long now. Ever since he misspoke and said Slowbro EX, it'll never go away. Never, ever, ever. But I can't wait till he pulls that. I just had to say that before you continue.
Ah, gotcha. Well, if you want to read them, you can.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll let you do the last ones then. Slowbro EX, Slack Off, does heal 60. I'm sorry, it doesn't do any damage. It heals 60 from this Pokemon. During your next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. Awful. Just awful.
Yep.
Final Splash, 100 damage for 3 water. And then Mega Slowbro EX, Lol Roll Spin. 100 damage. This Pokemon is now confused. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Lol Roll Spin does 100 more damage. So you're either going to do 20 to yourself or you're going to do 200 damage. Perfect for Slowbro, just because of how derpy he is.
Yeah, but you could essentially put that heavy boot on him.
You could do the heavy boot. Yeah, that's true. I always forget about that card just because nobody ever uses it, but you could do it. You're right.
Yep.
And then the Spirit Link as well that comes with it. Mega Slowbro in his shell. Love that. I don't know. The design just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, I like it. And then last card we've got the Surfing Pikachu, which from that one person that did get French versions of the cards have confirmed that this is a secret rare, but it is just a promo in Japan. And they also have a promo from, I want to say, Korokoro Ichiban, which is the Flying Pikachu, which I have to assume will also be a secret rare in the set. Yeah. But yeah, so don't really need to read it. It's just fun to see these cards again. Water Pokemon Master decided to throw up these gym badge promos, which we never get these, but it would be really awesome if we did get these in some way, shape, or form. I don't think we're going to, but it would be very awesome if we could.
I guarantee you if we do get it, it'll be all in one box, and it'll come with like 8 packs, and it's going to be like $60.
Yeah, but they'll probably be holos and whatever, but yeah, still, like... I mean, these cards, I mean, that would suck, but at least the packs would make up for the price.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. And then we've got these base set styled energies that are hollow. And I do have the suspicion, and due to the set numbering, it makes sense that we will be getting base set style energy in there. And I think in place of reverses, we'll be getting this hollow pattern for the base set energies for reverse.
I hope so, because these cards were actually printed in English as well with the same hollow pattern, but they were not exactly promos, but they were at the same time, because they didn't have promo numbering on them, but they were given out.
Yeah, it was just kind of like at leagues, like they just gave them to you for participating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Can't wait.
Yeah, so we're crossing our fingers that because I'm pretty sure we're definitely getting these in, as well as the Elite Trainer box. We're going to be having the energies replaced with base set style energies. But let's just cross our fingers that if they're going to be putting these in the English set, give them a purpose and have the ability to pull them in reverse.
Yep.
And have it be this holo pattern. Please, please, please let that happen.
I agree. Considering that the last time we could pull a holo energy out of the reverse slot was not even in this, not even in the XY era, I don't think, not even in black and white era.
Oh, well, Generations, technically.
Generations, technically. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you could do that. But other than Generations, hard to say.
Yeah, so I think they have to at least do that, just because of how nostalgic it is. And what's the point of putting them in here if your Elite Trainer boxes have them? Like, if anything, that would be more of a reason to, if they didn't have the reverse holos in there, there would be no reason to put them in there and put them as just regular, 45 energy cards, if you're not going to have the holo versions of them.
Right.
So we'll just have to see what happens. But that's it.
Yep, that's everything.
That's everything that we can show. Obviously, if there's a few more cards, we don't know of them yet. But
well, when they do come in, of course, Andrew over here is very, very good at reporting the news as soon as he possibly can. So if you guys want to stay tuned and make sure that you get all of the TCG release action, check out his channel for all of his Pokemon news videos, because pretty much as soon as something comes out, he's got a video up within a couple of hours of it even being known in general. So he's very, very good at that.
Well, thank you very, very much for that promo. I appreciate it, my friend.
Anytime.
And if you guys over on my channel, like the more competitive side, like I do want to try and get into it, but this guy right here, they're definitely, he and very, very good with keeping up on all the TCG products, getting them early fairly often, as on top of just, the deck building, all that. So
battles and all that fun stuff.
So definitely be sure to go check them out if you haven't already.
Well, thank you, sir. So, anyways, guys, this is our set that we're looking at for Evolutions. Are you guys excited for it? Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you're watching this on my channel or Andrew's. Curious to know what you guys think of Evolutions as a whole. Obviously, it definitely is more of a nostalgic set than a competitive set, but I, in general, am pretty impressed with what they did with a lot of the cards. Very, very well done, in my opinion, the way that they conveyed these into a more modern style. So I'm definitely excited for it, especially because I remember opening my first pack of base set back in 1999, being almost 11 years old, so it's pretty cool to see this come full circle 17 years later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be so great actually getting this set. So yeah, that's it. So I think we can just wrap it up with our outro.
Yep, absolutely. I know one thing I want to mention here is that we are doing our best to try to get a booster case of this set. So we're going to open up hopefully as many boxes as possible for you guys. I'm not sure exactly on the number just yet, but you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that here on our channel. So, and I know Andrew's going to pick up at least one booster box, I'm pretty sure.
I try to always get 3,
okay.
Minimally 2. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
Alright guys, well, with that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and of course, subscribe to myself and Andrew, 8Bboc, for more TCG content. You get kind of the best of both worlds with both of us. I focus more on openings and competitive, and Andrew focuses on some openings with Pokemon news, so we're going to get a combination.
And I'm also going to be expanding in the near future to more general Pokemon content, such as like top 5s, discussions, theories, but that won't affect the news and TCG openings. And I'm going to also be doing a bit of a name change. This is the first time I think I'm mentioning it on my channel, and obviously you guys are getting a hint at it as well. I don't have a solid name yet, but the name will be changing in the very near future. So anyone on my channel listening, that's going to be, I'll make some sort of announcement fairly soon, just so you guys are not surprised when it happens.
Right, exactly. So, Anyways, guys, like I said, that's going to wrap it up here. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope to see you guys in the next video on both of our channels. So until then, I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries.
And I'm Andrew for 8-Bit Box, soon to be changed.
And you all have a great day, and thanks for watching.